Service trailer delivery to mission control in Cosmodrome. Hello there everybody and welcome back to OpenFed Gaming and another exciting episode of SnowRunner. I am the OpenFed. We're just leaving the garage here in Cosmodrome in our trusty Avonhorn, however you'd like to say it, A15. Now we're going to go and attempt to deliver a radar equipment service trailer to mission control. And we've laid out the trackers for our route because it's not I've driven this route a couple of times, that's it. So I'm not quite that familiar with it. I know of a few of the bad spots, but I also know that I want to use the Avonhorn A15 rather than the Plaid 450. Although I think the Plaid is better in some aspects, the Avonhorn is a little bit of a smaller truck. Now, the tracks that I've laid out on the map will be attached at the end of the video for any of you who are interested in taking a picture or seeing the exact route. In the meantime, we're going to try and make it up to the top of the mountain, which is where the service trailer is. Now, the reason I took the Avonhorn is because there's a few places that are really, really tight and narrow, a lot smaller than where the Plaid could go. I've tried this route with the Plaid empty, and there was a few places that I had a lot of trouble with, and the Avonhorn was a little bit easier, so I decided to take him instead, and I'm sure that he's going to be okay. Now, the very first spot I had a lot of trouble, and I even have trouble with the Avonhorn, is coming up right here. When you go around the side of the mountain up ahead here, the back end of your truck slips off the road, and the Plaid was really, it was a lot harder. It slipped off a lot more. We're going to slide a little bit with the Avonhorn, but not too bad. We were able to counter it and just bring it back in time. So I think we're going to be okay with the Avonhorn. Now over here, I wasn't ready for this. This is really, really difficult. A very narrow, rocky ledge that you got to try and climb on and go around the mountain to advance and get past it all. Not an easy route to drive, I tell you that. It's pretty tough. But if you take your time, and there again, like I always say, speed kills in this game. You got to go slow and take it easy. And by doing that, if something does happen or is going to happen, a lot of times you can catch your truck or whatever you're doing just in time to keep it from total disaster. Now, I say most of the time, not all of the time. Now, as you're coming up here, you can see it's pretty narrow and rocky, and you just got to try and push through it and hope that you can make it up to the top, because there's no places to winch. So your winch, which is your best friend, is not going to help you much here. So you just got to hope you can get through here. And the Plaid being, like I said, a little bit smaller truck, well, it doesn't have an easy time, but he gets through there. Then we got to do a little bit of four-wheeling through the snow here. We're going to just shift her down into the high gear of the low range, and the high range of the low gear, whichever way you'd like to say it, and we can just slowly chug up the hill here as we meet up with each marker. Now here, the road's supposed to go straight, but there are way too many boulders, so sometimes you got to just think outside the box a little bit. Think outside the box and go around, and it's going to be okay. We're going to make it there. We've got a lot tougher spots up ahead, I'll tell you that. This is just fun and games so far. But as we're coming along here, you can see down below there's a little bit of a watery section with ice. And, oh, well, hopefully it won't pose too many problems. It's starting to get a little bit dark too, so I think we're going to have to switch the daylight savings time and bring some light back here for us so that we can see where we're going, because we got quite a ways to go. Now, with this little watery mud hole, whatever you want to call it, I like to just try and stick a little bit to the side, and boulders or no boulders, we're just going to go over them, because got this sneaking suspicion that if you try to miss the boulders, you're going to get into a little bit deeper mud and water. So as we crawl around them, most of these here little passageways are very narrow. They turn from left to right, and you got to make tight turns. And boy, I tell you, she's a tough go, you know, to try and get up there. All the while you're climbing up through snow and big boulders. Up at the top there, when I was first driving up here, I went, oh boy, I don't think we're going to be able to climb that. Not realizing, of course, that the track just rolls to the left here. Thank you. We can do that. We can climb up the side here, but up the straight up front, I don't know about that. So as we're cresting over top of the hill here, you can see that down below there's a little body of water. Now, I always thought that if you stay to the left, you know, close to the rocks, you'd be okay, and there's some trees there you can pull yourself through, but I was wrong. Over on the left, it takes a while to get through it, but if you look, you can see that the ice is fairly solid in the dark patches here. Now, it's always best that if you are driving on the dark patches to stay there and not slip off of them a little bit like we do over here. But we catch it just in time to be able to straighten it out, and well, we're still okay. And then we got to try and make it up this, I don't know what you want to call it, an ice chute. She's slippery and it's really tough. And that tree just up ahead on the right hand side, and I've mentioned this before, you got to watch out for some of these big trees. The limbs will just grab a hold of you and they will not let you by. Which is probably why they put a tree on the hill on the left, so you could pull your truck over a little bit and just sneak by there and break loose. There we go. That's the way. We're gonna be okay. We're getting close to the top of the hill. We still got a little ways to go, but we're getting close. Now, the way that the route goes and the way that the tracks go is not always the best way, because when you get to the top here, the trailer is off on the left hand side, but the road goes straight. So if you pull the trailer back out on this track where we are right now, you won't be able to see it, but I'll just let you know, and you can look on the mini map later. Straight ahead, just around the corner up top there, you got to turn to the left, and you're going to go in between two huge rocky areas. And the area that you got to go in between is quite narrow. And when I took a test run up there, I got stuck in there with the plaid, couldn't get out of there. And I was stuck in there for a while with the Avonhorn. So I was looking for a better way. And I think we found it. Now, whenever I position my truck something like I am right here, I don't bother backing up. I just use the winch to pull the trailer forward closer to the truck until I can hitch up to it. Now, I don't like to hitch up to it when it's at a 45 to the truck like that, so I just pull it a little bit forward. Let's go, boys. Pull it a little bit forward to about right here, and we don't worry about the outhouse. We can run over top of that. And when the trailer is a little bit straighter behind you, you can hook up to it. Okay, just like that. There we go. Okay. Now, if you look to the right there where the little pines are, just right where the tracker is. Now, I laid down the trackers for the second part of the trip, which is the part going down. And I've also attached that to the end of the video in case anybody's interested. Now, you see the little pine trees, and those are the ones we got to go over top. And there's two bigger trees in beyond that, and you got to go in between them. And there's a nice sort of smooth ride down the hill. Now, I shifted down into the high range of the low gear, but it's still a little bit too fast, so I almost lose control of the trailer and it kind of rides up into the back of the truck, but that's okay. We make out okay. We pull the truck out from underneath of there and we keep going. Now, as you go along here, the snow is really deep, which of course is why it is deep, because you got to go through here. So I try to pull forward, but it seems to want to grab all these little pines. So I figure, okay, if we just grab the little pines and pull them over, and that's the one I wanted to get a hold of. It's hard to see, but it's half a tree sticking out of the snow, and he's solid. So he pulls you forward enough that you can move it forward, and it starts going again. And then you just kind of roll around that boulder to get back on the track. That comes from up top, and you're back on the right way down. Now, this, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if it's a track, a road, or what you want to call it. It looks more like a goat trail to me. It's very narrow, and it has a lot of twists and turns as you're going down the hill at the same time. It's very hard to navigate. So you just got to take her easy and do the best you can. And sometimes, you know, hopefully you'll make the right decisions. Not something that the OPAFED always does. Every once in a while, he does the wrong thing. And sometimes it creates a problem. As you can see, there's a pretty narrow passage there, but we can just make it through. Oh, now there's really no place to flip the truck to because there's rocks on either side, so I'm not too worried about that. But here, as we're coming down, you can see it twists from side to side. You could imagine what a truck that's a little bit bigger, even the Kenworth 963, would never make it through here. It's way too tight for him. So I think we picked the right truck, but I think the operator was asleep at the wheel just around the corner here. Ooh. Well, see, now I should have backed it up and straightened it out a little bit more, and I didn't do that. So we're still okay, but now the back wheels get caught up on the rocks there. Now we're in a bad position because we're not quite one. And I should have actually put the winch on the trailer hitch and pulled the back end over. But rather than doing that, I pull from the front end of the truck right here to the tree in front. Not the right thing to do. Remember that if you ever get into a situation like this. Oh no. And when you get into a situation like this, there's only a few ways that you can rectify it, fix it, whatever you want to call it. You can bring a truck out to try and put yours back up on its wheels, which I did. I brought another vehicle out to try and put my truck up on its wheels, which I did. It took a long time. There was a lot of crying and screaming. And I finally decided to just take the Avon horn and disconnect it from the trailer, recovered, and drove back out, backed up the hill, and we're on our way again. So just so you know, because of one tiny little mistake, I was stuck up there for quite some time. But it doesn't look like it on the video because I clipped that out. I wanted to spare you all that. So as we're coming along here now, we're getting pretty close to pretty familiar territory because we're going to be hopping onto that mud trail that we come on to that goes up towards the Michigan. Well, I'll show you that when we get to it. Now, we could hang a right on the railroad tracks here and follow the tracks, but that poses a whole new set of problems as the ground, the land mass on either side kind of disappears, and it's very hard to keep this truck in the middle of the track. So I decided against it, and I thought I'd go a little bit of a longer way and hopefully a little bit of a safer way. So that's why we're going this way. Now, there's still a few mud pits like the one straight in front of us, but luckily enough, if you do get stuck, you see logs on the ground and there's trees up, so there shouldn't be much of a problem getting yourself winched through if you do get stuck somewhere, because there's enough winch points around. So now over here, you have to go over top of that little bump straight in front of you, because that mud pit to the left, I tried it one time and it was too deep. Now, when you go over these little bumps, try not to go up over the big trees because they don't bend so well. So then you're going to back it up and just try again. The little ones we don't seem to have too much trouble with them, but the big ones, they're problems. So you try to avoid them. Let's pull it through this. This part of the mud pit is not too bad. The worst part was right around the side of that little bumpy area. Now as we're coming up ahead here, there's a road. It's a little tough to see right now, but there's a road. We're at the end of a T, and we got to head off to the right. And we've driven that road a few times. So from here on in, there's a few problem areas, but nothing that we haven't seen before. So this is a little bit more familiar road to us. And there again, we try to take it around the outside of the intersection mud pit, because the center of any intersection is usually the worst. So either try to get by it on the left or the right, whichever one seems the best. And the big boulders, well, we're just going to try and plow over top of them, because the Avonhorn isn't bothered too much by them. And if you can't back up, you got to go forward. And the Opafed has a little bit of a problem backing up trailers. The problem is he's not good at it. He's not even sort of okay at it. And we try to avoid that at all costs. Now, I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos when we come through here. This little mud pit, you just try and avoid it a little bit. Go to the side. You've got the room, so don't go through the middle of it if you can avoid it. This next one, you can't avoid it, so you have to go through the middle of it. And that's okay too, because it's not so bad. Boy, I tell you, this has been probably one of the toughest jobs I've had to do in a moor. And we're also right near the end, because this service trailer, after it's been delivered, then we've got to go up to the hab hangar and pull the rocket out and get it ready for liftoff. So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be the very next video, and it's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of video it'll be when the rocket lifts off. I haven't seen it, and I've never seen anybody having posted it. So that'll be a lot of fun. I hope you'll join us for that. Anyhow, as we're coming up around the corner, you can see this is where the railway tracks come again, and this is where we would have come out had we followed the tracks. But it was just not a very feasible plan. For the amount of time that it took to go around, it was much, much better and well worth it to go the long way. So as we cross the tracks, we got to go up this little hill, a little bit of an ice hill. Yeah, not so bad. As the sun is starting to go down and the day is coming to an end, but we're almost at mission control. As you can see, a little bit of a hill, and there's a few boulders on the road. Now, when you see boulders like that, they're trying to get you to drive so that you avoid them. So just go over top of them. Stick to the side of the hill, straddle them a little bit, because you can't miss them. If you try to avoid them by going all the way over to the left, you'll end up driving off the side of the hill. You don't want to do that. Now, this is just a little bit of a half moon, but you're driving on a little bit of an angle, and it always feels a little weird, because it feels like everything's going to fall over to the left. But you're going to be okay. The Avonhorn is a very, very capable truck. Like I said, between the Avonhorn and the Plaid, it's all dependent upon what type of job it is, what kind of cargo you got to carry, and how much fuel you need. And if you keep those things under consideration, then you can pick the proper truck for the proper job. So as we're coming up around the corner, mission control is just on the right hand side. We're almost there. We almost got her made. And we'll deliver the service trailer. They can set up their radar equipment, and then we'll get ready for the assembled rocket liftoff from the hab hangar. Absolutely awesome. Just love this game. It's been another successful delivery that looked absolutely fantastic. Just about there. Well, we've really had a good time doing this delivery. It's so much fun finally getting it done, and I hope you enjoyed it and maybe got some tips and tricks out of the deal. If you just watch it for the fun of it, that's absolutely great too. Hope to see you back at OpenFed Gaming again real soon, when we will be hopefully enjoying the liftoff of the rocket. Until then, you've been driving through the snow in an Avonhorn A15 with me, the OpenFed.